Appreciate it.
I used to watch that show.
Seemed like there's a lot of pressure today up front. How do you feel about where things are at right now? With the
Pressure?
guys in front of you? Yeah.
Oh, I thought we played a lot better up front today. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. What's your question?
Where the O-line is at right now?
Well, we're still missing Dwayne, obviously. Lakin didn't practice today. We had Joe doing some center stuff yesterday. So it's a work in progress. You know, I think I feel like it was Rich maybe asked a question about the continuity of the guys playing together. And I was thinking maybe we'd start to figure some stuff out. Obviously, it hasn't happened yet. There's jobs up for grabs. So that's the beauty in camp, but also the struggle is in talking with a couple of the guys. We just need some continuity, I think, at some point, so guys can feel comfortable playing together. Maybe that's the end of next week. Maybe it's the week that we have in between the season and the last preseason game. But jobs are up for grabs.
What do you feel like this offense is now? I mean, just in general, not just the offensive line, but the offense in general.
Well, I think the two main times we've practiced, just looking at those two, Carolina and then today, 17 being out there just changes the dynamics of the whole thing, because he's so special. And he obviously had a real good day today. I thought we did some good things. We missed some real easy stuff in the protection, which is stuff we got to clean up. But I think we battled better. Now, there was testy moments, but we didn't back down. Our guys were protecting each other and sticking up for each other. I thought that was good. Thought we made some plays down the field. 17, again, had a lot of nice plays. Nice one to Cobby in the 2-minute. But we made some I felt like we competed better than we did against Carolina.
In what ways do you see, you talk about the offensive line chemistry.
Yeah.
In what ways, because I feel like a lot of people say that all the time, in what ways specifically do you see the benefits of that on the field?
Well, it's just about we have to get to a level of communication in practice where we can get in a game situation and guys have the unspoken communication next to each other. Now, some of that stuff, if you play next to a guy forever, obviously you don't even need to say a whole lot most of the time, but we don't have that luxury. So we got to get all the communication dialed in now because there's going to be some tough environments that we play in throughout the season where you're not going to be able to have the ability to hear everybody. So they're going to have to understand playing next to each other. We have been moving tackles side to side. Maybe some of that will start to level out a little bit just because we need our guys to play next to each other. Obviously, look at today. I didn't mention ABT. He hasn't been out there. Lakin wasn't out there. Dwayne, we're hoping for at some point. Joe was playing left guard. Hasn't taken a whole lot of left guard reps, I don't think, the entire camp. So it's good for him, especially against that front. It's good front. But at some point, Rich, you were right. We need to figure some things out so we can get guys to at least get a week or two playing next to each other.
What are your thoughts on, now that Dalvin's official, getting him in what ways do you think he can help the offense?
Well, I think, as opposed to maybe when I first got in the league, we had Amon Green, and Amon was a 400 carry a year guy. Now around the league, there's just not many of those guys. Everybody has a 1-2 punch. Brees obviously is coming off a great start to the year, and then he hurt himself. He's a special player, and I've been teasing him about when he's going to practice, but he looks really, really good. And it's good to see him out there. Dalvin's done it for a long time at a really high level. Unfortunately, running backs are not valued anywhere near where they were when I got in the league, maybe not even 5 years ago, which is a shame because you got to run the ball to win in this league. When a team becomes one-dimensional, that's when defenses usually have the upper hand. So we need multiple guys to get it done. Dalvin's got it done for a long time at a high level. He's motivated. He wants to win a championship. Obviously, he made it well known to me during the process. He wanted to play with me and play here in Jersey. So we're excited to have him. Excited to get him in here. He's got a little one on the way, so he won't be, I don't think, be with us maybe until next week. Maybe I wasn't supposed to say that, but I can say that? Okay. Go ahead.
Did it require some recruiting on your part? Did you
Honestly, not much. No, he wanted to be here. Listen, there's always the money component, which it's a business. I respect it. And he was going to, look into the opportunities. But at the end of the day, if the money was close, he was telling me that he was going to be here. So.
What about the other side of that, Aaron? The recruiting with it, did your input, how much do you think your input convinced the Jets to sign him?
Listen, I don't think I needed to have a lot of input. They were interested. He was interested. Not that I needed to sign off on it, but I was interested. I've seen him firsthand for a number of years in the North. So adding another great player to your football team is always a good thing.
You called Garrett special. He said some flattering things about you today. Just wondering how your relationship has evolved and what makes him special.
Well, the talent is really impressive. He makes difficult things look easy, and it's the person that he is too. Receivers are an interesting personality. They are usually the most talented guys on the team athletically. Everybody wants the football. Everybody wants to be on the field. Everybody thinks they're open all the time. I've had some great ones over the years who are great people as well, and he's one of those guys. He's a great person. The talent is there. It's just the communication now, the nonverbal stuff that's starting to come. We had a mishap in the 2-minute today, which is a good learning experience, but we haven't made the same mistake twice, which is great. And he's so eager to learn, and he's so talented with the football. I told him I used to have a rule with Devontae where I'd give Devontae a little extra tick, because I know if I did that, he's going to get open, because he is really difficult to cover. And I have to give that to Garrett too, because sometimes you give him just a little extra tick where you're sitting on him, he's going to be really open. And that's what he's earned by his performance in camp. And like I said, the biggest difference between going against Carolina in Tampa was him being on the field.
Offense talk about everybody wants the ball. That's something you've been obviously very good at. You have to make sure everybody's happy, or if they're not, they understand you're going to the right person at the right time. How have you been able to manage that?
I tell them the same thing I tell you guys. I throw to the open guy. And some guys get open more than other guys do. But I like matchups and percentages, and in the end, I'm going to work to the matchup I think is best, or the spot I think is best, go through my progressions. Every now and then there's a really special somebody running a certain route that you might give us an extra look to, but that's why this offense has worked over the years, because it's a progression offense about timing, rhythm, balance, and space. And when it's going good, everybody's going to be getting opportunities. Obviously, your number one might get a few more than the other guys, but whoever's open is going to get a look.
Aaron, what's your level of concern with getting this offensive line as cohesive as you need it to be for week 1?
Pretty low. Yeah, I don't have a lot of stress, a lot of concern about things. There's some things that are totally out of my control. Some things I have an input on. Who's playing left and right tackle every day, I don't have input on at this point. Don't have control, so I'm just trying to be consistent with those guys, with holding them accountable and testing them every single day with cadence, with calls, with adjustments, and just the normal stuff we're going to be doing. Guys that can handle it are going to be in there. Guys that can't aren't. But I have no control over who's going to be out there with me on a day-to-day basis. I was as surprised as I think Connor was to start practice yesterday with Joe in there. So whoever's in there will make it work. But at some point, we're going to have to figure out who those 5 are and give us at least a week to get used to each other.
Aaron, going back to Garrett Wilson,
You're next.
said that you guys were progressing on nonverbal cues. What does that entail?
Just kind of looking at him and then maybe nodding to him, and then he knows what I'm thinking. But yeah, we're going to get to a lot of that stuff. We sit next to each other in meetings. There's a lot of conversation around a lot of the ideas that we both have. He's a creative guy as well, and he's got a lot of ideas about certain ways to run routes, and we're just trying to get on the same page. And he's so talented. I was never worried about getting on the same page, and it's really me just giving him a little extra time to work sometimes.
Hold on, right here, then Connor Cobb.
Aaron, at the beginning of training camp, you mentioned those Zooms you were on in 2020. I think it was you, Hack, maybe Luke, and Matt, just sort of thinking through the offense. Can you talk a little bit more about how those influence the way you're playing now and also just the way you view offense relative to other ways you've prepped in your career?
What's the last part?
How that's influenced your preparation differently maybe than other ways you've prepped in your career?
Yeah, that might have got me in trouble because I enjoyed being in Malibu so much in the off season that didn't really want to leave. But yeah, those are good conversations. A lot of high level football stuff and people, bringing their old scars and wounds to the table and talking about plays they like and didn't like and reasons why. And in the end, we put together stuff that we liked that we felt like could work, and it just kept, whittling it down over the entire year. For me, it was that year I went back and looked at some old film of stuff I was doing back when I was a younger player and picked up a few fundamental things that I tried to focus on during training camp, which I felt helped me have a really good season. The other part is after I hurt my knee in 18, kind of rededicating myself to squatting in the weight room, I think has made a big impact on being able to still move around and use my lower half to throw it the way I throw it.
You kind of mentioned about the mouths to feed and the open guy is going to get the ball, but is there a certain trait that you look for in a locker room or within players to know that everyone's going to be signed on and be buying into that plan, and you're not going to have the squeaky wheel, if you will, if the targets aren't going that way?
Yeah, body language. You can see it, how a guy responds when he's open and doesn't get the football says a lot about whether you got to worry about him or not, because you're not going to see everything. And standing back, I always call them, the sideline quarterbacks in practice, who are saying, ooh, back behind you, telling you to throw the ball a certain spot. It's different when you're actually pulling the trigger. And receivers can't see what we see. You can't see the rush. So you're going to miss some guys that are open sometimes, hopefully not too many times. How do they respond in those situations? And then understand on the flip side of that, if how are you going to respond to a guy who drops a ball or misses a route or adjustment or something? I think it's very important with the relationship between that individual person. Each guy needs to be coached differently and probably talked to differently. Some guys you can hold, really, really accountable and be very direct with them. Some guys you got to be a little softer with until they figure out your personality and you mesh with your friendship with that person. But that's what the friendship part and the chemistry part is all about. It's how can I best inspire this person, reach this person, connect with this person, because that's the main goal, is to be able to have that relationship where you feel close enough you can have difficult conversations with and understand how to actually get to that person instead of upsetting them or triggering them or doing something that's going to put a rift in the relationship.
Aaron, one of the things we've consistently heard from guys since you got here is how different you are than how you're perceived. Curious, do you have any theories of just kind of how that public perception maybe got off track at some point for those of us who haven't been around you in Green Bay that whole time?
I do have a lot of theories, but I'm not going to share them at this point. I'm thankful for all those kind words that my teammates have had. I'm just trying to be authentically myself, and hopefully it's hitting guys in the right spots and they're feeling good about how much I care about being here and how much I value the leadership role. Change is a part of life, and embracing that change has been really important for me to feel comfortable here. But I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. Made a lot of mistakes over the years, try and learn from those and do a little bit better this time.
Kimberly, last one right here.
I just want to go back to when you're talking about the low concern with the offensive line. Is that because it's still August, or is that because you've been in the league a long time and maybe you've seen it take some time in that experience?
Both. Good question. Yeah, it's August 16th, I believe. Is that right? So we got some time. Also, it's coming up. So I don't get concerned heavily about things that I don't have a huge role in yet. Now, that might change. At some point, I might say, hey, I need the 5 who are going to be in there to be in there with me for a solid week. But I don't think we're at that point yet, because I don't think there's 5 guys that have earned those spots. And also, ABT hasn't practiced. Lakin missed today. DB's not back yet. So I'm going to have some patience with that. And also try and encourage and inspire those guys who are fighting for jobs to keep showing out every day, because every day somebody notches up, somebody goes down, and that's the beauty in training camp and position battles.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, that's not mine. Sorry, hon.